Welcome to Epic Fail, episode 126. Before we get started, I wanted to give a quick shout out to those that help us fail. First off, our Patreons, our Catastrophic Fail, Norman the Turtle, our Epic Fail, Craig, our Deliberate Fails, Joseph, David, Mickey, Cuddles, and Flash Goth, and our Twitch subscribers, Draven Dresden, Jamie Joy, Galvanid, and Gank Theory. Thank you for letting us fail.
Warning, this show may contain mature language and is not suitable for small children, pets, or blood elves.
You're now listening to the Epic Fail podcast.
Hello, everybody. I am host Draven Dresden. This is Epic Fail number 126, and I still shudder every time I see my picture on that intro. And yes, I know it's an easy fix to just send Theory a picture, but I don't like taking pictures. So
okay, we'll take one for you. We'll just screenshot something.
Okay. That's what happened this last one. I'm almost worried that you would pick a whatever screen. It really wouldn't matter. But anyway, we're going to do our BlizzCon prediction show this week. On top of, we have a couple things of breaking news, so we're not going to have like different game sections and then WoW and then BlizzCon. It's going to be all one thing and then the predictions. So before we get into that, from the land of I'm moving here soon, and it'll be interesting finding someone to not replace but fill in while she's gone. Scarlett, what have you been up to this week?
There's been a lot of maniacal laughter in my place. Did you guys know that? And that's because I'm running the Headless Horseman on 12 tunes and still nothing. I haven't done today yet, so I should probably do that after the podcast. But it's a lot of Headless Horseman laughing. I have gotten that stupid Sinister Slicer on like every tune probably like 6 times, but no.
She means the squashing theory.
No, I mean the Sinister Slicer, the sword.
Weapon?
Yes.
The one-handed. Oh, well, I mean it's a cool weapon at least.
I totally didn't know what she was talking about. Keep going.
How did you not know what I was talking about? I don't know.
I didn't know the name.
Oh, anyways, I've probably gotten that more than the pet actually. So no mounts. I've been forgetting. So the last couple of weeks I forgot to do my mount runs. So that could explain the reason there's been a lull in mounts. Sad face. Played some Hearthstone. What else did I do? Played some more Diablo. Played some Overwatch. Really just Headless Horseman farming on WoW and then logging off and going on other games. Hearthstone has something interesting this week because I don't think we're probably going to talk about Hearthstone specifically. So the arena, as part of the Halloween celebration, basically shuffles 2 classes into one. So you pick your first class. So you pick, say, I did mage and then I did rogue. So I was a mage rogue, which is kind of cool. That's part of their Halloween thing. So, yeah, it's been an interesting week. What about you guys?
Well, I know I've got a story that involves you and Diablo, but before we get into that, Theory, what have you been up to this week and how are you doing?
I'm good. Making sure I'm not muted. So this week, filled in a little bit with fire department. Some real life issues have made them short a tank. So I've come along a couple of nights in order to try to help out a little bit, as I'm not really raiding regularly at the moment. I too have done some Headless Horseman actual runs, but no, I don't think it exists because it doesn't draw for me. Not 12 a day, although I did just get another 110. So now on Airy Peak, I have literally one of every spec or class at 110. And then I've got another one that's about to hit 110 over on the same server with our friends from Lagging Balls podcast, which probably will hit 110 sometime next couple of days, I'm guessing, because it's nearly 109 already. So a little bit of invasion leveling, I guess you would say, along with the regular Headless Horseman stuff. The one thing that I've found myself doing pretty much every week for the last few weeks, though, is I take every single tune that I have that's 110 and go do the Greater Invasion and hope that I get something good, which is kind of like a Headless Horseman run because there's an awful lot of letdown and not really that much work. But that's pretty much my week. How about you, Draven?
Well, there's been an awful lot of WoW. I hit artifact knowledge or whatever, artifact level, whatever, 72 for my level. So I got to unlock my next to last Netherlight Crucible thing. So one more to go. I only need 129 billion to get to this next level.
Wait, you have almost 79?
I'm at 72. You need 75 to unlock the last trait.
Dang, I'm slacking.
Yeah. So that's been fun. Not really, but it is what it is. The things we do. Heroes has been a little bit of this and that, mostly clearing out dailies, leveling up characters just because Halloween loot boxes are a thing that I want to get a lot of. And then there's Overwatch, which Junkenstein and some quick play just to keep up on it. A lot more Junkenstein. And then I finally did my placements, and my team, I can't believe I'm actually going to say this, but I had a team that was all worse than me.
How did you just do your placements? The season just ended today.
I did my placements last night.
I sense him trying to trick the system there somehow.
No, you just
didn't want to hit the decay level?
I just literally was one of those things where I kept meaning to do it, and I just kept putting it off, and then Junkenstein hit, and then I got a little notice in the game saying, you have 6 days to do these. I'm like, oh, crap. And then I just never had time, so I just did them all at once.
It's totally not because you think after you place, you're going to screw up your placements. It's totally not. That has nothing to do with it, right?
It's totally not that I was expecting to be,
But that's why you don't competitive.
No, it has nothing to do with that at all. I didn't get over 2,000 this time. I got 17 something. But again, my teams were awful, and I had 2 wins out of the 10 placements.
His teams were awful, he says. Yet I won 7 placements out of 10, and I am like 900 something. My highest was 1042. I don't like you, Draven.
Well, let's put it this way. I was mainly playing Junkrat overall, which I did switch from time to time, but I would try to play Junkrat when I could. And I was required by my team to be on the point to delay because they couldn't get there.
I also play Junkrat.
Yeah.
I also stay on the point.
I tend to stay away from the points. I near them that I can shoot at them, but not on them. But my team wouldn't even go to the points. So if we captured a point, it was because I was on it. Other than that, I finally loaded up Diablo this week, and thus I played my Necromancer. And I got to level, 14, and then all of a sudden I get an invite from Scarlet saying, hey, come run with me, we'll do stuff. And I died a lot because she put it on Torment 37 or something like that. And
it was Torment 5. Yeah, I can solo Torment 6, but with the added person, it was a little more health, so then it was difficult. So I lowered it to 5.
Yeah, it was fine. I think you got me to 64 or something like that, and you're like, I'm sorry, I'm lagging. I can't get you all the way to 70. I was like, it's not an issue. I was planning on leveling on my own.
Yeah, I've never seen the mobs in Diablo just kind of like run in place. So I figured I was lagging like super hard.
Yeah. So I got
Sounds like
70
it.
the next night. I got 70 the next night and proceeded to equip my corrupted Ashbringer on my Necromancer because it was actually just slightly better than the weapon Scarlet gave me, which I forgot I had that I didn't think I could use it, and it had like strength on it, so I had to like re-roll it. But
So I have a funny Diablo story. My gold on my non-seasonal tunes, I was like, oh, cool, I have 100 million gold. No, I don't. I have 1 billion gold. Oh, that's cool. I wish I had that in WoW. Can I have 1 billion gold in WoW?
They need Diablo tokens.
They totally do.
they would cost 100 billion gold to buy though, because gold is not hard to get.
Yeah, good point.
Probably.
But yeah, that's, I mean, in terms of games, that's mine. That's what I've been doing for the week. Yeah, a couple of things on my phone here and there whenever I don't feel like playing an actual game on the computer, or when I'm watching something and I don't want to like have something that I have to pay too much attention to because I want to pay attention to the other thing. So
Oh boy, everybody's talking about how Scarlet needs a new computer in chat.
I do. I do. This is such a bad computer.
So, like Draven said, we're going to basically roll one bumper and go through pretty much everything this week. So, if you guys are ready, we'll get started.
This is the Blizzard news you can use.
So we talked a little bit about this. The Christy Golden book we knew was coming. We knew that she was most likely writing something, hopefully for WoW. We even speculated that maybe she was going to be helping out with storylines and things like that, since they no longer have the medicine. But then somebody screwed up, and now we know a little bit more than we're probably supposed to know.
Amazon.
Yeah.
Amazon seems to do that a fair bit.
Well, you know, they're Prime.
I can tell you right now that a lot of authors in particular love and hate Amazon because Amazon will just randomly put up dates for books that they're not even done writing yet.
Yeah.
And then everyone's like, well, Amazon said. I was like, and because I've talked to a couple of different authors of whose books I read, and they're like, yeah, well, I'm not even done writing it yet. So that date is something they made up.
That's crazy.
I definitely think that they kind of struggle with the too big for their britches thing. Amazon is freaking huge now at this point and can only get bigger. So they're going to make mistakes. But this one's interesting. Draven, why don't you tell us a little more about why this leak was interesting?
Well, as you mentioned, it's a Christie Golden book, which leads people to believe it's WoW related, and it's been confirmed it is WoW related because it's in the title.
It's World of Warcraft in the parentheses.
Yeah. So basically, it's called Before the Storm, I think is what it was called.
Yep.
I wasn't looking right there at the picture of it, and it's basically the events after Legion. And more importantly than that, the date on it, again, Amazon makes dates up, so we could take this with a grain of salt, but it does lead up to what a lot of people are thinking is in mid-May. And usually the between expansion books come out right around a month or so before the expansion comes out. So if that's the case, you're looking mid-June, which is usually, that sounds about right for when we might be getting an expansion, presuming Blizzard doesn't do away with them.
Especially since the major source, or I would say major thought about BlizzCon, which we'll discuss a little bit later, is that they will be announcing an expansion. That time frame definitely fits.
Nobody thinks that. Come on.
Only like everyone.
Pretty much.
The one thing that I thought was kind of funny is the price on it. There's a Kindle version and a hardcover version so far, and yeah, they'll probably change, but no soft cover, and the audiobook's $14.99, which is a little bit high. The hardcover is $27, which is a little bit low, ish. So, you know, what's the
those are about right.
Going to be 12.
They're not going to have a paperback for like 6 months to a year, so if ever,
I don't know, man.
Most of them don't come out that way.
War Crimes, I'm pretty sure, had a paperback right out the bat, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, usually they come out with paperback and hardcover right away.
But
trust me, I read books.
That's okay. I would be getting the audiobook anyway, because I don't kill trees. You know, like more books, more dead trees right down on the bottom. Notice that. I did that just for you, Scarlett. So yeah, I'm excited about this. But I think it pretty much nails down a lot of things that were probably supposed to still be a little bit secret at this point. But happy that she's writing the book. I'm sure it'll be good. War Crimes was great. Excited for it.
Well, other than the events after Legion, it doesn't really tell us anything except for Before the Storm, which leads one to believe there might be kind of a Mists of Pandaria type expansion where it's not straight into the next huge big bad. It's more of a pacing expansion.
No, you know, I mean, that is another one of those major, I guess you would say, theories that are out there, that people are saying. I don't necessarily hold to that, but we will find out more about that soon when we get to that part of the show. All right. Anything else you guys want to talk about her new book?
It'll probably be good.
All right. So this past week there was something that is usually a pretty big piece of news that pretty much went untalked about for me at least 2 days, and that was 7.3.2 dropped. And I didn't hear anyone talking about it until like Wednesday night. And usually it's a big deal on Tuesday.
But usually, not usually, but it wasn't really, it was just a number. Like, it was literally just a fix this patch kind of thing.
Well, there actually was some changes, and I've got the notes on the screen, and they're kind of small, so you might have to squint a little bit at the screen if you're watching the video. But there's a couple of class changes here and there. Nothing really major. A couple of bug fixes. Some of the class halls, they added a couple of things too. A few items changed, for example. The companion app changed a little bit. And then they made some changes to some PvP stuff too. All in all, you're right. There wasn't a whole lot of huge changes with this patch, which is part of the reason why it's not even a 7.3.5. It's a 7.3.2, which I think is kind of funny. But still, usually when there's a patch released, people talk about it, and I don't remember anybody talking about this.
But no one was talking about because nothing got added.
I get it.
It was just fixes.
I get it, and that's why I think it's funny, because no one cares yet.
Well, yeah, I mean, Blizzard went out of their way to not make a big deal out of it. They were like, we're not adding anything. This is a bug fix patch.
It was a bug fit.
A bug
it was
fit?
a bug fit.
Well,
they've got the wristband. They're going out. They're doing their jumping jacks. Oh, yeah.
That's a Fitbit. But anyway, one of the bugs that they tried to fix was the fact that prop pallies suck and Demon Hunters kind of struggled a little bit in the raiding scene. And they did that by buffing both of their stamina, which I can't speak for Demon Hunters. Scarlett, you might be able to a little bit. But on the Paladin side, yes, it's nice to have a little bit more health. But when you have to have 55+% haste in order to keep your actual SOTR up, which is your active mitigation, a little bit of extra life when you're getting hit for 5 or 6 million is not really enough of a band-aid.
Kind of what I was thinking.
Yeah, it helps. It's nice that they thought of us, but how about just give us like an extra 10% haste to make it easier for us to get to where we need to be from a Paladin standpoint? Is that how you felt about Demon Hunters too?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So,
like, just if you just reduce the cooldown on our one ability by like 10 seconds, because it's a minute cooldown, that would help.
Yeah.
because I have to keep demon armor up or demon spikes up for just his regular attacks. So that means I literally have one thing that I can use, sometimes two, because Metamorphosis is like a 5-minute cooldown or 4-minute cooldown. So one time I can use Metamorphosis, one time I can use Fiery Brand, and then I gotta yell at the healers.
Yeah.
And I usually use Fiery Brand as a DPS cooldown, so sometimes I mess up and use it as a DPS cooldown, and then I'm just literally screwed.
Yeah, I mean, it's a similar situation. They both have active mitigation that's very difficult to keep up 100% of the time. And when you are competing with tanks that have larger health pools for the most part and active mitigation that they can keep up nearly, if not over 100% of the time, it makes it just non-competitive in high-end rating. For everything else, It really doesn't matter. They're still fun. They're nice for dungeons. But if you're high-end rating with them, it makes them not a very good choice. And this is, like I said, it's nice that they're giving them some attention, but they need to do a little bit more. But one thing I thought was kind of funny, Golf Professional in the chat said that they took out the Headless Horseman mount, and that it is in the patch notes, which leads us right into our next thing. So,
wait, what?
Exactly. So there was a tweet that went out a few days ago, maybe almost a week ago. Headless Horseman Reigns can only be obtained in the Epic Quality box. Well, Draven, what level did you have to be to get the Epic Quality box?
Well, originally, literally right after the show last week, we were told have to be 100. Might even been mid-show. But we found out shortly after the show last week that 98. You have to be level 98, which, okay, I mean, it kind of makes sense, except that it doesn't, because you don't have to be 98 to run the thing. I personally think if you can use the mount, you should be able to get the mount.
I kind of agree with you here, which is odd because we don't usually agree about things, but I totally think...
Or when we do, we argue about it for 10 minutes anyway because
then,
we don't understand we're actually agreeing.
Exactly. But if you're, 28 or whatever, and, sorry, dogs.
Hi, puppy!
And you can run the dungeon, you should be able to get the mount. You can use the mount, so why shouldn't you be able to get the mount if you can run the dungeon? What I think they should have done in order to appease this when they decided they were going to let everybody run it is there should have been another mount, either a better Headless Horseman mount or maybe a permanent Witch's Broom mount or something like that, which could drop for anyone. Maybe not epic quality, maybe blue quality, but something that persists all year long instead of just during the Hallows Eve, Hallows End event, whatever it is. If they would have added that in, it would lessen the blow a little bit of not being able to get it from the lower characters. But I know, like Draven, you said you had like 30 characters that you were using for the Love Rocket. And I'm sure if they all could have got the Headless Horseman mount and you didn't have that, which I know you already do, so shut up about it, you probably would have run every single one of them. And now you're going to tell us about you've gotten 5 of them.
I know. I've only gotten one mount this year, and I always feel bad when I get it. It's because I usually only run it now with friends who don't have it, and I can't trade it. So I always feel bad when I have to delete it because you can't trade it. Yeah. But yeah, what that leads me to believe, though, is running however many tunes I did for Valentine's Day was worthless.
That was my next question.
Because we don't know. They didn't give us that information. So before I run...
Here's the question, though. For Valentine's Day, though, was there 2 different boxes? Because it came from the heart candy box thing, right?
As far as I know, there was just the one box, but...
Yeah, if there was just the one box, then I think you're safe and you didn't waste as much time as you might have. If there was 2 different boxes, then totally. But I know if they retrospect were to come back and say that, people would be pissed, so they probably won't say anything.
Yeah, they won't.
And I would not be surprised if they next year put in 2 boxes. And if they do that, then a lot of people are going to be ticked because I don't want to level that many up to like 100.
Well, hopefully Howland or someone else who maybe sees or listens to our podcast will hear my idea. And if they do that, at least add in a consolation prize that anyone can get. So it does make it worth it to run it on your lobies.
I mean, there's always the gear and the
and
you know
they
that
did
little bit
update
of
the gear.
experience.
I mean,
but-
880 is not bad for 110s, especially fresh 110s. But when you can get 910 gear relatively easily, 880 is still not great. But it's at least good for starter gear. And one thing I wanted to point out real quick, I jumped back to the screen because Flashgoth said should just be less percentage the lower level you are. And I actually kind of agree with that. That's a pretty good fix.
That is a good idea.
You know, if you're 110 and you're running it, you should have a better chance to get it than if you're 28. I would totally agree with that. But yeah, there was
as much as I hate to admit it, I would be okay with that.
that at least would make sense. And then there was another big leak, and several of them, but this one was interesting. So apparently they know that we like the idea of sub races because they leaked something that makes it look like there's sub races. And
But did they leak it?
well, that's the thing. Red shirt guy found this.
Exactly.
So I don't know. It's interesting. If these are not sub races, then they're probably at least NPC races for the next part of the expansion we're in, or maybe the next expansion, in my opinion. But
I won't go to say NPC. If they're not sub races, then they're new races that we could play as.
yeah. So specifically, Void Elf, Light Forged Draenei, Nightborn, and High Mountain Tauren. First two were for Alliance. Second two were for the Horde.
Wait, Nightborn would be
Yes.
Horde?
Yeah, they're basically a sub race of the
Blood Elves,
Blood
I guess.
Elves, yeah.
Well, what it
That's
is,
true.
that one in particular, I know a lot of people were complaining about that one because they look closer to night elves than blood elves. If you look at the story in the in-game stuff, the blood elves were treated and treating of the Nightborn a whole lot nicer than the night elves were to the Suramar elves. So
Yeah.
that's why they took it that way. And there's some in-game comments and stuff like that that lead that in that way. I would not be surprised if the Suramar elves eventually end up on both sides, but for now,
I don't know. We'll see. I mean, the thing that about these four in particular, what about gnomes? What about, dwarfs? What about trolls? Where's the rest? If this really is the beginning of it and these are the only four they found, where's the other ones? Because there should be a lot more.
maybe they haven't got there yet. Maybe it'll be just like the character updates. Here's a few now, more are coming. Who knows?
I get it, but if that's the case, then this is definitely not a main feature. You know what I mean? And they've had these in, apparently, if you look at the bottom line there, it was in the 7.3.0 PTR. So this is not really brand new. This has been around for a couple of small patches. So I don't know. I'm kind of thinking that this may be something completely different, or it might be something they put in there specifically just to throw us off a little bit.
They've been doing a lot of playing around with data miners, so it wouldn't honestly surprise me if it was just somebody there just going, everybody's going to be watching the data mining stuff right now, let's just put in something to throw them off.
Totally agree.
I've said it before, I'm going to say it again. If I worked at Blizzard, I would totally do crap like that every patch just to screw with people.
And they should. I mean, the only problem is that if this doesn't end up being in the game, you're going to have people being like, I wanted to play a Highborn, or I wanted to be a High Mountain Tauren, which if you take a look at the High Mountain Tauren pictures that were actually on Wowhead, if you read the story, they just look like Tauren with tattoos. It really doesn't look any different. So, I don't know. We'll see.
That's true.
All right. So, up next. This is our last piece before we really get into the BlizzCon stuff. From the mailbox, I think all three of us were actually sent something from Alessander, which is a little scary, kind of. But it's
No, it's
Halloween.
not.
It totally is. I'll explain why in a second. So, I'm going to massacre this. Sejong University will host the first human versus artificial intelligence, AI, StarCraft match next Tuesday. The reason that this is a little scary is, Skynet already exists, and there's nothing we can do about it. No, maybe not.
What?
Skynet. So have you never seen the movie Terminator? If you say no,
Can I decline to answer that question?
all right. So part
I
of
have
your
the
homework,
misfortune of being able to honestly say I've seen all of them.
yes, part of your homework for the time that you're away is you need to watch the movie Terminator, because then you will get the reference and understand why this is kind of scary.
Fair
And
enough.
more importantly, Terminator 2, because that's the best one out of all of them.
I don't like Schwarzenegger.
This one's fine. You don't have to like him. You won't like him in the first one anyway. And I'm giving stuff away. But anyway, so yes, they're going to be playing against computer AI in a tournament-style matchup. It's actually been going on for a little while. This is not, like, brand new. There's even rankings, if you search for it online, of events where people have been playing against AI with StarCraft. So this isn't brand new. Bless you, Draven. But this is kind of becoming more prominent. So she let us know all about it. You can check it out online if something that you're interested in actually seeing. It may even be streamed, although there was a Facebook page specifically for it if you want to find out some more information for Seong University. All right.
Yeah, we
So-
still don't know anything about DeepMind that they announced last year at BlizzCon. We haven't heard anything from that yet. They did say it was a little ways off, but
I thought this thing that she sent us was part of that. I forgot it was a totally different thing.
I think it's something
Yeah, it's-
completely different, to be honest.
Same idea, but a different thing.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Okay. So now we get into the meat and the potatoes, so to speak, stealing one from our buddy. And we're going to talk about BlizzCon.
Yay!
So, Draven, how do you want to do this? Do you want to go game by game? Is that what you want to do?
We can. I was thinking start at opening, just, start like literally from the beginning, opening ceremonies, and then go game by game. But yeah.
Okay. Let's do it.
Okay.
You first.
Well, I'll ask the first question, and we'll just kind of rotate from there. That way it's a little easier. I don't have a whole lot of actual questions up there, so phrase it how you want, but I'm going to start with Hearthstone because I have a feeling it's going to be up first. Are we getting anything, Scarlet? If
Yes.
so, what?
We're getting an expansion.
Called or about?
I don't know. But I think Pirates, because they released the new BlizzCon gift thing. If you buy the virtual ticket or if you're going to BlizzCon, what do you get for Hearthstone? It is a pirate-looking dude. We don't know what his attack or health or anything is. They literally just posted a picture of him, which he's kind of a cute, handsome-looking human dude. But
Is he blue?
so no. So I think
Is he in like black and silver armor that covers most of his face?
no.
With a
He's
big
in
sword?
like an Indiana Jones outfit. Exactly, Howland. Howland said a Pirate Hearthstone expansion might tie into WoW. I think we are going to see lots of pirate stuff, but I'll save the rest of that comment for a bit later. But anyways, for Hearthstone, probably something pirate related.
All right, Theory, what do you think on this one?
So I think they're going to be discontinuing Hearthstone completely. They're just going to shut it down. We won't be able to play it anymore. No, I'm just kidding. I honestly, it'll be a new expansion. It would make sense if it tied in with WoW a little bit, but then at the same time, sometimes they feel like they have tried to. I feel like they've tried to go along with WoW and the other games, and there's other times where they just make complete right-hand turns that no one else did, and it's different. So, I hope it's not pirate related, but if the card already came out, that pretty much seals it. I didn't actually see that the card came out. There was some interesting South Seas things that had to do with pirates a little bit that we've heard from some of the other podcasts. So that would be weird if that was kind of a tie-in to that. But again, maybe it's just more of the, smoke and mirrors, trying to get us to think of something different. But definitely expansion. No idea what it's going to be. I hope it's something that makes me want to play the game. We'll put it that way.
You have to start liking the game for you to want to.
Not necessarily. I mean, Junkrat makes me want to play Heroes. I just haven't done it yet, but I still want to.
True.
All right. So before I answer, I got a question that isn't on there, and I didn't ask. Presuming there is an expansion, how many cards do you think they're going to announce and reveal at BlizzCon?
6.
20.
For the record, the last expansion they announced at BlizzCon, they revealed 30 cards fully.
At least 20.
I say 6.
Okay. Well, I'm right there with you guys on expansion and pirate related. It might even be called the South Seas. I don't know. But in terms of how many cards, I'm going to say 32.
So I got to throw it back to the chat here. Do you remember Bud from WoW on the boat?
No.
Golf Pro just asked if Bud will be there. He's the best NPC, and I totally agree.
Who's Bud?
You don't remember
Scarlet,
him?
whenever you go to Vashir for the first time, he's the dude that if you play with sound on, I'm sailing.
Yes, and
I don't play with
jumps
sound
off.
on when I'm questing.
Well, it's sound effects, but yes, he screams "I'm sailing" and then jumps off the boat.
Oh.
And he's there a few times, and I hope he is. That would
I
make
would
it better.
imagine he'd be a legendary, just
He
because. Either that or a one-cost minion. One or the other.
Interesting.
But if he's a one-cost minion, he'll have to like you play him and he dies and he comes back. Play him and he dies and he comes back like over and over.
Return to.
Yeah, more
Return
more
to
Bud
deck.
would be good. All right.
And
That's
we're
what
not even talking
she
about
said.
alcohol. Oh, okay. Anyway, Theory, I'll let you pick the next game and questions.
Okay.
And you don't have to go by exactly what's written in the show notes. You can pick if you want, if you have an idea of something else.
Diablo. Go Diablo.
Diablo, nothing. There will be nothing for Diablo.
There will be
I know.
computers there that you can play the current game, and that'll be it.
Actually, I do think they're going to make a Diablo announcement, but it's going to be a very brief future of Diablo plans type announcement, not actually anything specific about the current game. But yeah. I don't know, man. Your list is interesting. HOTS, more maps, more tie-ins. They've already added a whole bunch of really cool stuff. They'll just keep going. They're gonna keep pulling from all the games. It's just gonna keep getting bigger and better for HOTS.
That's what she said.
All right. If you're gonna go with that game theory, what do you have ideas in terms of maps and/or heroes that we might possibly see?
They're going to take every single League of Legends idea and make a version of it of their own and put it into the game that's not already in it.
So how about all the
HOTS on console would be big.
yeah. Well, what I was going to say was the Necromancer in Heroes.
He's already there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. Never mind then.
Okay, so theory, my question to you, I will repeat, only I will explain it better. Name a couple heroes, probably less than 4, who you would like to see in Heroes, or you think they might possibly throw out there for BlizzCon.
Mechatork, because more gnomes is better. How about Bud? That's not going to happen, but that'd be great. The goblin, what's his name? The goblin, like Prince whatever.
Gallywix.
Yes, Prince Gallywix. Maybe just as a skin though for Gazla. That would be funny. I don't know if I can come up with a 4th one.
You don't have to pick 4.
Winston?
Winston would be kind of cool.
Especially if he can jump like halfway across the map.
That's true.
Well, Junkrat can jump. Genji can jump. So jumping is possible.
Yeah, make Winston able to jump like halfway across the map and do damage when he lands with a knockback.
All right. Any ideas on a possible map, or at least a theme for a map, or anything like that?
I think there's going to be more tie-ins. One really crazy thing that would be neat if they did is literally make a Hearthstone board map where it looks like a giant Hearthstone board and it takes little pieces of all the different Hearthstone boards that are there and you literally play on the board.
That would be kind of cool.
But I don't think they'll do that. Whatever they're doing in WoW, whatever that ends up being, will get tied in somehow. Probably through a map. So if it is a South Seas / pirate type thing, there'll probably be some more boats, which I know they had the one boat map with the docks and stuff, but maybe even more of that. That's pretty much it, though. I mean, it's just a lot. I think there's going to be a lot more from them this year. Okay,
Scarlett, I'll go ahead and go. That way I don't go last on every single one.
Okay.
So for me, I think that we're going to get 3 heroes. Alexstrasza with a possible Drake skin. Like not a full-on non-stop Drake, but the ability to be a dragon for X amount of seconds or something like that for like their ultimate or heroic or whatever. I think Hanzo will be the next Overwatch hero. And I'm thinking, because it was leaked a long time ago and it hasn't happened yet, the Firebat from StarCraft, which is basically just a dude with flamethrowers in armor. That might be the next, those 3. And I think it is going to be a WoW flavored map at least. I'm personally thinking something like Warsong Gulch, where you have to capture it'll be a weird one where you have to capture the flag and run back or something like that.
So I just thought of something. You know that new little girl for Hearthstone that was in the videos? She was the new warlock. If they really want to do things with her, they could have had her into HOTS.
I think it's possible we'll see her, but not for BlizzCon. She's not a BlizzCon, to me, another warlock as we have Gul'dan. She would not be BlizzCon worthy.
What do you think, Scarlett?
For heroes, I honestly think 2 maps, I'm going to say, because they haven't released a map in a while. The last one was the push the payload one, wasn't it?
Volskaya just came out recently.
Oh, that's true. No, I'm still going to go with 2 maps and probably 2 heroes. As to who it would be, I do think it'll probably be another Overwatch hero. And then it's all based on already existing characters. So honestly, Mechatork is a really good one. I was actually going to say that. So I think we're thinking along the same lines.
And which Overwatch character are you thinking?
I don't know.
Well, Howland just said Reinhardt, and I totally think that would be
Reinhardt?
Cool because of his shield.
Well, I do know that Darren DePaul is going to be at BlizzCon, I believe. So, maybe?
Maybe neat.
Well, I mean, they're doing a whole voice actors thing, so a lot of the voice actors are going to be there, but...
True, but, did you guys see who is going to be doing the talent contest judging?
Who is it?
Darren DePaul and Johnny Cruz and Panzer. But Darren DePaul and Johnny Cruz, so that's Lucio's voice actor and Reinhardt's voice actor.
So Panzer as in trade chat Panzer?
Yeah, at Panzer.
I don't know. Hopefully that'll be good. I like
the
idea of the voice actors
doing the
Q&A.
Q&A.
That'll be funny. But
the Q&A?
Yeah, do we know who's hosting the WoW Q&A, or is it going to be Hardwick?
It's Hardwick, but I'm not sure.
Simon Cowell.
Either way,
amazing.
Either way, I'm one of those people who I'm happy to see the return of Chris Hardwick as the host. I thought he did a great job.
Chris Hardwick is cool.
So
he's from the Nerdist.
Hallen has a very good point with Anduin. I don't know if you remember back in like July.
Oh yeah.
Back in July, the imagery for the book that was snuck out there, that supposedly is the one that's about to come out in April or May or whatever that was, involved his what do you call it? Not his picture, but like his outline, his silhouette. So I wouldn't be surprised if Anduin was brought into HOTS, because I think there's going to be a major focus on him.
Okay. But I'm not arguing with you. I think he will eventually show up. I just don't think he's a BlizzCon hero.
It depends. But yeah, I mean, I could see them waiting, but I feel like so if you're ready, we could transition into WoW.
Yep.
I feel
Well,
like
we got Overwatch still, and
sure.
I figured we'd do WoW last because I have a feeling it's going to be the last thing they show up on screen.
All right, I'll hold that thought then. So let's do
All right.
Overwatch.
All right, I will go first on this one since I haven't gone first yet. I think we're going to get at least probably one cinematic, maybe two. The cinematic will probably be the reveal of whatever the new hero is. Possibly the little Hammond monkey thing, but we already have a monkey, so I don't know. I don't really know what the hero is, but I am expecting a hero. I don't know what another map would be, but I think we're going to get a map. And then, you know, I already know some of the other stuff that's coming, which is basically like observer mode things for like pro watching, like watching on Twitch and stuff. So that's not really coming because I've already said that it's coming. So at least one hero, at least one cinematic, and I would say a map. But I can't give any more specifics than that because I have no idea in terms of Overwatch what it could be for a new hero outside of maybe Hammond.
Who's Hammond?
Hammond is the thing that escaped the Mars base that no one could find. He's wee little.
He's wee little?
He's little, yeah. That's all we know about him. We don't know what species he is. Everyone assumes he's a monkey because that's all anyone knows about the moon in Overwatch is they had monkeys up there, or gorillas, or whatever you want to call them. But there's nothing saying he is, so...
Okay, Scarlett, what do you think for Overwatch?
I think it's time for a new healer hero. Especially with all the Mercy ups and downs recently. So I think we'll get a Mercy hero and a healer hero. And it's kind of obvious a new map as well, but I'm hoping for 2 heroes released. I don't know what kind the second one would be. Probably time for another attack hero. But I don't have any clue as to like cyborg or human or anything like that. But I do think that a new healer is coming. That I'm like 99% sure on that.
I could get behind that, and I do want to clarify when I say cinematic, I don't mean like Junkertown. I mean like Bastion,
Right.
and the big cinematic.
That's the
I
way
think we're going to get that.
That's the way I heard you. However,
Yeah.
I'm glad I went last on this one. I disagree with both of you. I don't think there will be a new hero. I don't think there will be a new map. I think there will be a new PvE mode added to Overwatch, and part of the reason why I think that they're going to do that is people have been asking for it since the game come out. That they wanted a version of that game that was actually story-based and PvE driven. And like Hallen said in chat, every time we've had a new hero for Overwatch, they've made a big deal about it in a way that got people hyped up about a new hero. I haven't seen anything that makes me think there's a new hero coming out recently.
Well, I mentioned Hammond because people were all excited back when that came out. Oh, what's Hammond? What is that? Everyone was like, maybe Hammond's the next one. Maybe they shoved Doomfist back again. And then Junkertown came out, and everyone was like, the Queen of Junkertown. So I'm thinking it's probably going to be one of those two. It just depends on if they expected Queen of Junkertown to be as popular as she became.
Yeah, see, I don't think it's going to happen. I think they're going to focus totally on Overwatch League. That's going to be the main thing. Overwatch League, Overwatch League, Overwatch League. By the way, here is a PvE campaign for the current heroes that you can play in the game. Meanwhile, Overwatch League, Overwatch League, Overwatch League. And
I disagree with that.
Well, I mean, hopefully we're all right. But I do think that they will actually talk a little bit more about the teams. I know that they announced the three teams, but there still leaves like 5 or something.
There's 4 now, I think, that officially have their official branding. Shanghai Dragons, Seoul Dynasty is the new one. Dallas Fuel. One of the Los Angeles teams is called the Valiant, and then Boston Uprising. So I think that's 5.
Okay.
But there's still like 7 more. So I think we're gonna get all of them revealed. The rest of them revealed at BlizzCon.
It would totally make sense because it's a place where they literally could be selling that merch, and people will buy it hand over fist. If those teams don't have at least something for them available at BlizzCon, they are totally missing out. And I don't think Blizzard would let them miss out that poorly. So for me, that's going to be the big part of Overwatch, is all about Overwatch League. And then I think there'll be some sort of PvE chapter, whatever thing. And the reason why I say that is because they haven't teased. I know you're talking about the Hammond thing, and I know you're talking about the Queen of Junkertown, but to me, the Queen of Junkertown is not so much a character as it is part of that map.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I don't really see that as becoming a character. And personally, I don't know enough about Hammond to say one thing or another about it. But when Sombra was coming out, we heard about that for months. When Mr. Doomfist was coming out, we heard about that and speculated that it was going to be Terry Crews for 6 months.
But with those 2 examples in particular, Sombra was an ARG because Blizzard thought it would be cool, and they admit they screwed up that horribly. With Doomfist, he wasn't gonna become a character until the fans decided we want him. So they just kind of slowly brought it out.
I don't know about that. I think he was going to become a character. He may have just got a time frame.
No, they said he was one of the first ones they worked on.
Right.
He was one of the first ones they worked.
What I heard is they literally only had the glove, and that was it. And then when fans said they wanted him, that's when they made him.
I would definitely agree with the desire that people showed with Terry Crews makes it something that they put a little bit more focus on and probably moved up the order. But I find it hard to believe that he didn't exist because his glove was already in the map. I mean, it was already part of some type of story, or else his glove wouldn't have already been in a map.
Yeah, what I mean is he existed in the universe. They didn't have a character designed for that name. He was literally a name, and that was it. He wasn't like a guy in a glove. All they had was the glove, the name. That's it.
Well, we'll probably never know the answer to that. All right, what's left?
StarCraft. They'll probably go into not at the opening ceremonies. I don't think there'll be much, unless there is a DeepMind update.
I would not be surprised at all if there is an update for it. I don't know if it'll be at opening ceremonies, but I don't think it will constitute a full chat. It'll probably just be a quick little comment somewhere that they fit in. Oh, by the way, we're still doing DeepMind. You'll hear more about this whenever. And that will be the end of it.
Honestly, the only thing from actual StarCraft I'm thinking of, I don't think it's going to get its own section. I think it's going to be more of a year in review type thing that they normally do.
Yeah.
Like whatever Mike Morhaime comes out, he does some talking. They do a little video, and then StarCraft will be in that, and that's going to be about it for StarCraft. I don't think there's going to be a whole lot because there's really nothing. There's no playable demo area for it or anything. So I don't think you're going to see really any news from there.
Agreed. Scarlett?
Fail. I was muted. Yes, that is the first one. I honestly don't think there's going to be a whole lot of news about StarCraft, especially since they spent last year talking about releasing the code and all that. Unless they give an update onto what that what happened with that, I don't think we're going to see anything really.
Okay. So we talked about StarCraft. We talked about Hearthstone. We talked about HOTS. We talked about Overwatch.
Even talked about Diablo.
Even talked about Diablo. Costume contest.
I threw this in just as an idea.
I'll give you a prediction on this one.
Someone's gonna win.
Pasha will be on the stage.
That is true.
Yeah. Well, we know that
And
already.
if she doesn't win, she'll be like top 3.
We already know what the costume is going to be, and it looks badass.
Yeah. Pasha.
Well, there's someone else I know who's in it, and I know what they're
Yes.
dressing as. I don't want to give it away, but if you're level 1, you might want to stay away from her because she will eat you.
Have you seen the previews?
I've
I'm
seen
not
the
going to say what it
previews.
is. Oh my god, she's so talented.
Yeah.
We have
Yeah.
some really coolly talented people that are in CTR. You know that? It's so cool.
Well, you put 8,000 people together, you're going to get some talented people in there.
True.
And then you're
but-
going to get people like us who try sometimes. But anyway, costume contest. What game do you think that the winner is going to come from? And by this, I mean, Heroes, StarCraft, etc. Heroes would only count if it's a specific skin to Heroes. So if you said,
Yeah.
I don't know, Arthas, but it's going to be this one hero's, this other skin for him instead of an Arthas skin from WoW, then you'd say Heroes.
So that's tough because a lot of the ones that are super, super true to the actual character don't usually win. Like, for example, they had a Junkrat guy there last year, and he looked great, like perfect, just like Junkrat. But the person that won was the one that was an orc, and it looked amazing, and it was just a crazy looking orc. It wasn't even a certain orc. It kind of looked like Gromosh a little bit, but it was an amazing looking orc. So I would say Overwatch because there's probably gonna be some really, really cool Overwatch characters, but I don't think any of them are gonna win because they're gonna look just like the Overwatch characters. I think it'll end up being a Warcraft character that is not actually one that's in the game, or it's some variation. Like, for example, they had the female Death Knight, which was it was basically female Arthas, but that looked great. I'm thinking it'll be something kind of like that, like a variation on a Warcraft character.
Okay, Scarlett, what do you think?
Usually what I've noticed is they don't always pick the winner that you think is going to win. I've noticed that they don't necessarily pick the extremely sexy costumes, and I've noticed that they don't pick the extremely I have $1 million budget costumes.
The orc guy was
but-
close to that last year, but yeah, in general.
True, but what I mean by that is the cosplaying companies that pay people, I don't think they on purpose pick some of those. But I honestly think it is going to be either I would say Diablo. Because you guys didn't watch the costume contest from the Germany stage, did you guys?
I saw part of it.
There was some amazing Diablo cosplays in there. There was a lot more Diablo than I expected. So I'm going to say Diablo.
Okay, so honestly, I'm thinking my original thought was going to be StarCraft, and then I went back and I looked at the numbers from last year and the year before, and StarCraft has had very low representation. Last year there was 2 costumes based on StarCraft, and I think those would be the really hard ones. So I'm going to side with Theory, sadly, and say it's going to be a Warcraft. I don't think Overwatch is going to have a lot of them. There might even be some of those goofy skins, but I don't think it's going to be one that's going to win. But then you have to factor in the guest judges, 2 of which are voices in Overwatch. And yeah, the one Darren DePaul is also voices in WoW, so that kind of helps that out. But I think it's going to be a WoW winner.
I mean, it just kind of boils down to it. And WoW, and don't get me wrong, there's lots of room for even more, but there's customization, can't speak, customization available in WoW that's not available in the other games. So because of that, there's a lot more room for creativity with a WoW character when you're going to try to make yourself look like one. Where when you're going to try to make yourself look like Winston, you know what Winston looks like. There's not a whole lot of options there. But Demon Hunter is a good guess from Flash Goth, totally. And then there was two other ones that were good. The Grilling Dad Soldier 76 would be very good. And the Dreadlord Jaina is also a really good guess, too. That will definitely get the audience vote. The Dreadlord Jaina will.
That would.
Yeah.
That would.
My vote, presuming it happens, and I have no insider information. In fact, I don't know even what Pasha is going as. I know she's going to be there, but beyond that, I don't know. I haven't kept up on it.
I'm not sure what she's going as, but what I will say real quick as I jump in on your thought is that she's made several different ones recently that I've seen her drop pictures of. Any of those, she could easily be on the stage. And the newest one that she showed, hello dogs, which was basically plate armor, looked amazing.
Yeah. What I am going to say, if there is a decent looking ethereal, I think that'll be the winner. But I don't know that it's going to happen. And it's got to be a really good one though. That would be my vote. What's his name? Locust Walker. If someone did something like that, I think that would get the fan vote too.
I mean, they'd have to do a good job pulling it off, but yeah, I agree. That would be a difficult one to make, I'm sure. But from what we've seen, I'm sure somebody can do a pretty good job at it. Okay. So that leaves something random. What's in the box? New IP and WoW. Which one do you want to go to next? What do you mean?
In the box?
What is
She
what's in
picked
the
what's in the
box?
box.
I don't know what that
Okay,
means.
there in the Overwatch stage area, there is a giant loot box that they're going to open. Nobody except for them knows exactly what's in it. What's in the box? It's literally, what is it? What do you think it's going to be?
Overwatch.
Can I sing a song?
I know you can attempt it, but I've never heard you try to sing, so I cannot guarantee that you can sing a song.
You've got it. Go ahead.
I'm not actually going to sing a song. It was making a joke about what's in the box. You know, the
Is it Gwyneth Paltrow's head?
No, the Justin Timberlake and whatever his name is song.
Yeah.
Really aren't getting it?
You went the other way. You guys cross each other, and yeah, totally missed.
She went Nightmare Before Christmas-ish.
No, she didn't. She went I'm on a boat, is what she went.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, yeah, I went in a completely separate direction. I was Nightmare Before
You
Christmas,
went-
Tim Burton.
Flash
You went
Goth
7.
gets
Yeah.
it.
You
Yeah, I went
7,
seven.
and she
Yeah.
went on a
That's it.
boat that way. Can't even do that.
7 could happen on a boat. It'd be a much shorter story, but it could have happened. All right.
So Overwatch League swag. That's what's in the box.
That's true.
What do you think it's going to be, Scarlett?
I'm agreeing with Theory. Because that's
All right.
actually an amazing idea.
I think it's going to be the Overwatch League trophy.
But they haven't played yet. Oh,
Doesn't
like,
matter.
So it's like, oh, this is what they're going to win next year when they actually do the
Yeah.
thing? Okay. All right, that's not a bad guess.
And then when they reveal it, it's going to be accompanied by a cinematic playing behind it, blah, blah, blah. It's going to reveal all the team names. It's going to have probably a brief description of how the league works, et cetera, and so forth. But actual in the box is going to be the trophy.
That's a good guess. I like that guess. I still think there'll be swag in it, though.
That is
it'll
also
be
possible.
Swag and the trophy.
It could be both, yeah. Okay.
Or maybe they'll have a girl in the box and then they open the box and she'll be holding the trophy.
Or it could be several people in the box, each wearing the
Giggity.
uniforms of each team next to the trophy. Some men,
There's
some
tw-
women.
there's so far there's no women in Overwatch League on the teams.
You shut your mouth.
I'm just saying. I'm not saying none of them will ever have it. I'm just saying thus far there is no one confirmed to be female.
Somebody
on
better.
the-
Somebody's gonna get angry.
So,
It could
speaking
happen.
of, did we talk about? We did, and I totally forgot this part. So I'm gonna retcon here, and say we're talking about Hearthstone. I was watching Toast's stream, and he said, whether it was accidentally or he was supposed to, he said that him, Day 9, and some other people are going to be doing a trivia contest about Hearthstone. I'm so excited.
I don't know about.
They've
Go ahead.
done these on Twitch, and they're like Jeopardy, and they're freaking hysterical. They even had Ben Brode in one. It was amazeballs. He beat them, of course, but I'm super excited for that. That looks awesome.
I don't know if it's that exact panel, but I know Garrett from Angry Chicken is on a Hearthstone panel at some point.
They've
With
actually
Day 9.
included a lot of podcast / vodcast / community celebrities this year, which is kind of neat. I like that they've done that. One thing real quick, Golf Pro said it'll be a Metzen statue for the trophy. I totally think you're right. They remember that Metzen statue they put at the thing where he's holding Winston's hand?
It's
I
in the
don't
vault.
think
They're
they
not going to give that out. They're not going to give that out.
What? I'm talking about
They
that's
have-
what the trophy will be.
No, it's not.
I might be wrong. I'm just saying. That would be a cool trophy. I think they should do that.
It would be cool. They're not going to do it.
All right, so new IP. Yes, it'll be mobile. Next.
No. Sequel, possibly. New IP, no.
Mine's related to the WoW part. Can I forego mine and come back to it later?
Sure,
Okay.
but that's not really a new IP, but sure. Okay. Something random.
Warcraft 3 Remastered.
That's kind of a
Did they
given,
already
though.
do that?
Yeah.
What did they?
It's
They
released.
remastered something. Was it
StarCraft.
Then
It's
yeah,
re-
totally. I agree. That'll
So,
happen.
did you guys know in the launcher now you can get Diablo 2 and StarCraft 3 or Warcraft 3?
In the
I
actual
don't-
launcher?
I didn't see Warcraft 3 though.
I don't know how to get it there, but apparently I think if you buy it, you go to the shop and buy it, it'll then appear in your launcher where it didn't before. I think that's how
cool.
it is.
Well, I know they updated it so it'll play on current computers, but there's been no talk of a remaster thus far.
Okay.
Like
Scarlet,
I've got them listed on my Battle.net account, so I can play them anytime I want. I can download them straight from the site. So
yeah, I have that for Warcraft.
But
3
it was
too, but I don't
something
have it
just
on my computer.
recently people were all excited about that it's now in the launcher, but I honestly don't see it, so I don't know how to get it.
Scarlet, what's your something random?
You know what this sounds like? Totally off topic. It sounds like that wedding thing, something borrowed, something blue, something old, whatever. However
You wrote
that's
it.
saying.
and to clarify how to get them, you literally at the top. If you're in the beta anyway, I don't know if you have the beta.
Oh,
or not.
I
You go up to the top, click shop, and it's in the middle. It's listed what games they've got, and Diablo 2 and Warcraft 3 are right there before the Destiny 2 icon.
Gotcha. I honestly have no idea what the random thing is going to be. I think I don't think there's going to be random announcements, but like having a trivia contest is something new. That's very random. So I think the random part is literally just going to be the fact that they've done a lot of promotions and podcast stuff now that they didn't before, which we already kind of know about.
So what you're saying is pass. Okay.
Yeah, pretty much.
I had something, but then it randomly just fell out of my mind, and now I can't remember what it was. So I'll pass as well.
Oops.
Although I like your answer, Draven. I think you're right. that if they don't do that now, they definitely will be doing that at some point.
Yeah, I almost thought Diablo 2 would be on there also, but they're not doing anything Diablo related. They've already said they're not doing anything Diablo, so that's why
It just fell back into my mind. So I think that they're going to talk a little bit about the future of the Blizzard app / Battle.net app and what they're going to do. They've already expanded a little bit on it and the beta and everything. People have done it. I think they're going to go much further with it and explain what it's actually going to be doing in their plans at BlizzCon. Because it will come up.
Curse meets, or the Twitch app meets Discord, pretty much is I think what they want.
Agreed. All right. I think that only leaves WoW. Did I miss something?
Not from the list. I mean, we can go back and add random goofy things in if you want, but...
Okay.
All right. So, Warcraft. We're all three in agreement. Yes, expansion, right?
Yes.
Possibly.
Explain.
So what I was saying before, I think the secret project is not a new IP. I think the secret project is a new platform for WoW. So I think with the WoW expansion, we're going to get, it'll be, I guess it'll be an expansion, but I think...
Now available for Mac.
It's already available for Mac.
What?
It's been available for Mac the entire time.
I think...
I was
Overwatch
making
might
a
become
joke.
available for Mac.
That's true. I honestly think we will get like a new, like, I don't know, but right now it's not on Unity, right? It's on something else. I know Hearthstone is on Unity. But anyways, whatever the game engine is that WoW is on, it needs updating. And they've been pushing a lot with graphics and stuff. I honestly think we're going to get a new platform for WoW. I don't know in exactly which way it'll be, but I think that's what we're going to get.
So, before we move on to someone else, you realize platform in this case is PC /
No, game engine.
Mac, PS. Okay, that's not platform. That's something else entirely.
So game engine is what I think we're going to get, and it's going to coincide with the new expansion in the sense that WoW is going to go through like a cataclysmic change again, but instead of just revamping the current WoW, it'll be on the new platform.
Engine.
Yes.
Okay. Because platform is computer, console, phone. Those are the...
Fair enough. Anyway. You guys know what I mean.
I wanted to make sure because you were saying platform. I was like, there's no way it's going to be on a PS5 or whatever they're calling it. Okay, Theory, you're up.
There's a way, but not this year. They've sort of been updating their game engine, to my knowledge, ever since the game came out. And although I do like your idea, and it would be kind of neat to see a fresh version of WoW, I honestly don't know if it's possible for them to force this much of the game into a brand new engine with the limited amount of time they have between expansions. Like, that would be great. I would love for that to be the case. I don't think they can do it. At least not in a way where, yes, here's this entire game from 12, 13 years, whatever, and here's also another expansion in a brand new game engine. I honestly don't know if they need to. The way the game works right now, other than the bugs that they seem to have a hard time fixing from time to time, it works fine. They just need to figure out a way to continue to make it compelling for people and tell good stories and make sure they could probably fix PvP, although a lot of the PvPers who think that they need to fix PvP won't be happy no matter what. So it's kind of a hard thing to really say it's fixed or not, because depending upon who you talk to, it's either great or it's horrible all the time, and it just changes sides on which one thinks it's great and which one thinks it's horrible. From a PvE standpoint, I could have an argument with anybody saying that it's not as good as it's ever been right now with the things that they've added, especially with the Mythic Dungeons and the Mythic Dungeon Invitational and the other things that they're doing. So to get to the actual question, I'm thinking expansion. It's looking more and more like some sort of South Seas with Ajara being one of the main baddies, at least in the beginning. I don't necessarily like that idea personally. I would have rather done a Void expansion. The thought that people are putting out there that are talking about it's going to be an exploration expansion. Don't you remember in Mist of Pandaria, the numbers went from really, really good to really, really bad in about a year, and that's all that actual expansion was in the beginning, was exploring. I don't think that they're going
Compared
to do that
to
again.
Warlords, when it went from really, really good to almost next to nothing in 3 months.
You should look at the actual bar graph that shows subscribers from when they actually were saying it. At the height of the launch of Miss, it tumbled down further than it ever has.
But do you think
And it's
that's
never
because
recovered back above that.
Do you think
Dailies.
that's because of the pandas? I don't think people took pandas serious, and I think if Pandaria had come out, but let's say they didn't make pandas as a playable race, people who hated the idea of pandas would have accepted the expansion more. And most people, if you look on, I know it's not like the full player base, but if you look on Reddit, most people generally will agree that Pandaria was the best expansion in the last, not like since vanilla, but in the last, like, if you compare Pandaria to now, it's one of the better ones out there.
See, my thought on the Pandaria, outside of Siege taking too long for something else, 5.0's dailies, everything you wanted to raid and or needed to raid was locked behind rep.
Correct. I'm not saying their content.
Yeah, but I'm saying
perfect.
I'm going back to what Theory was saying with the sub drop. I think that had a lot to do with it, with everything being locked behind to that extent. That's why the sub went down, because everything was so locked behind everything. People were just like, it's not worth it, I'm out. And then they came back afterwards and stuff like that.
Well, I think that in a way we're all right. The pandas did actually affect some people, but pandas are still in the game and people still play pandas. It's not like they were taken out.
Pandas are adorable.
There was lots of things about Mist that were good. Most of the quest lines while you were leveling were good, but to be perfectly honest, the quest lines in Warlords was actually good until you hit cap, and then it didn't make any sense anymore. But while you were leveling, those were some of the best quest lines they've ever had in the game, and they continued that with the expansion that we're in now. That part of the game is not broken. The part that was broken for Mists, in my opinion, was the end game part, which included the dailies and things like that. And yes, I do think that had a pretty big role in the decline of the game as well. But when you look at the expansion as a whole, what was the expansion? We were exploring a new island with a new race where everything was new, and it was a lot of exploring. And everybody talks about how they want to get back to an exploring and not having a big baddie and not having a big conflict. It's World of Warcraft. There has to be some kind of conflict. If it's just exploration, people do that in a month and then they're done playing. And they stop subbing because they already did everything.
There has to be some kind of a big baddie. 100%
But there
agree.
was conflict, like the Shaw and stuff. I kind of thought the Shaw idea was cool.
Well, yeah, there has to be some kind of a big baddie, but it doesn't. What Mist to me was them inventing new lore that they could fall back on later, because Warcraft 3 was Wrath of the Lich King. They needed new stuff. Warlords of Draenor was, okay, this is way back then. This is even, pre Warcraft 1 lore stuff. Questing wise, great the first time, maybe even the second time. Go beyond that, you want to kill yourself. Legion is another one of those. Questing, great the first couple times. Luckily, there's other ways to level, and you can do it that way. And after you get there, there's tons of stuff you can do right from the get-go now.
Yeah.
Once it becomes alt friendly, it becomes freaking alt friendly.
Yeah, but it wasn't in the beginning.
Not at the beginning, and I will grant you that.
Which honestly, I think
But
that's
every
partially by
expansion-
design.
Every
Yeah,
expansion
I
is
think so.
always not alt-friendly at the beginning, which makes sense.
I really feel like they want you to, on a tune, your first tune, maybe your first 2 tunes, really explore everything there is in the expansion before you start playing a bunch of other alts. I really think that they're doing that on purpose. I think that thought also kind of transfers over to mounts, flying mounts. They want you to be able to do everything first without them before they give you the convenience of having them. And I think that that's kind of the same thought pattern with alts. You're right now. I mean, you can ding an alt just by doing invasions in a couple of weeks, all the way from 100 to 110, and in another week be 900 item level, easy. And have gold and be almost caught up on AP. So like they've totally fixed it not being alt friendly from the beginning of this expansion. And the only thing that I think is going to be interesting is how they are going to give us something similar to the actual progression that we have with our artifact weapons. Because we know the artifact weapons in some form or fashion is going away. But there has to be some sort of progression grind that replaces it in some way in order to continue the way the game is right now. Now, what that looks like, I don't know.
Void weapons.
Well, not if we're going to the South Seas, because the void weapons won't exist. If it's a void expansion, there'll be something like that. I don't necessarily think it'll be a weapon, though. But
no, they need to do something instead of artifact power next expansion, because it's fine for this one expansion. Just don't do it every time.
It's
same with
something
mission,
like that.
Same with mission tables. Give us another way to make gold and do stuff. I'm tired of mission tables.
Likewise.
Howland, in a way, I do think the Crucible is a trial for a new artifact system, but I think the next iteration of it that we see won't even look like it because it will be applied differently. It'll be applied to like your character. I don't even like stat sheet. You'll be basically, it's almost like having the old talent trees again, but a new version of it, where you're, instead of messing with an artifact, you're actually improving your character itself. I think that's what they'll have to do if they're not going to do it on something like a weapon or something like that everyone has. What I honestly think it's going to be is some type of South Seas / pirate thing in the beginning. We're going to face Ajara at the beginning. She'll probably be the first or maybe second last raid tier boss. It will be an Old Gods expansion, not a Void Lords expansion. And the thing that's happening that we're not supposed to know about in Silithus is the beginning of it. That's what I honestly think is going to happen.
Question.
Yes.
Which old god, or more than one, are we going to be fighting?
More than one. Just like we had, what's happening now in Argus, where it's, lots of big baddies kind of happening at the same time. It'll be similar to that. Ultimately, we will see more than one.
That will be really hard to pull off.
I don't think
if they're
so.
in the same raid. If they're in the same raid. I mean, they could make portals for in the middle of the raid, but that would feel clunky to me.
Think about, and this is not exactly Old Gods, but think about the AQ raids that are already in Silithus. And the portals and the different things that those bosses do in those raids. Now, not all of them are Old Gods, but they're all kind of Old God related that are in those raids. And then think about in Ulduar, the guy at the end, where you had to take the portals into the other rooms in order to do things, in order to come back to the fight. I think it'll be a lot of that kind of a thing, where you won't necessarily be walking down a hallway going boss to boss to boss. It'll be more of you have to fight this guy to get to this guy to get to this guy to get to this girl or whatever. And
so kind of Emerald Nightmare.
Yes. Think of like a never-ending Emerald Nightmare kind of a thing.
Yeah, that I never really cared for. I like the raid itself was fine. I just never cared for get to that one room, split off into whichever direction, and you're in a different location everywhere. Yeah. It made sense for that one raid, but to do it like in an actual and real environment, not a dream state type thing, it would feel kind of clunky if they did it again, in my
Well,
opinion.
I'm sure if
It's
it
possible.
doesn't work, they'll figure out a way to make it work. But that's the thoughts that I have for what it'll be. I totally
We
have
might get a
feeling where it
whole
could be
lot of
completely different though. So
yeah, we might get a whole lot of 3, 4, 5 boss raids, like tiny raids. Like you're going to such and such place to fight this old god, such and such place to fight this old god, and you have to clear them in a certain order, kind of thing.
that would make sense. But if we also have Khadgar with us again, they easily could be like their different wings where he ports you to
Yeah,
the next
I'm
wing.
I'm not saying that
Yeah.
I like that idea any better, but
I want to see Khadgar get offed.
No. I like Dadgar.
I would love to see Yogg Saron come back and get munched on, or and see Khadgar get munched on.
Yeah.
No.
Like he slips and falls right into the mouth, and
No.
I also think that you're going to see 6-man content come into the game as one of the features for the new expansion. Instead of 5-man dungeons, it'll be 6-man content. Just because it aligns better with a lot of the other things that they're doing. It also helps with there not being enough tanks or healers, because if you have 4 DPS in each group instead of 3 DPS in each group, you need less tanks and healers.
that's been an issue since the game came out, though.
I agree, but that's a way to fix it, and it's not that hard to do. And when other games are already using 6 people, it makes it easier to say, well, this should be 6 people too. Anyway,
That would change the dynamic a whole lot.
it would.
That
but
would be
I
interesting.
think it would change it in a good way. And then the other thing that I think that you're going to see is less of a focus on raids and more of a focus on dungeons, even more than we had this expansion.
Yeah.
That's probably true.
Anyway, okay. So since we've been going on, I haven't done my WoW prediction yet. Expansion, we're gonna be leveling at or near Kolcharos. So I think it is going to be at least partially South Seas Ashara. And I'm right there with you, Theory. I think the first raid is going to be over in Silithus. And then Ashara is going to be probably the last boss of the next to last raid before we actually fight an old god, which will probably, in my opinion, be N'Zoth. And then Void expansion after that.
It would make sense. I think you're right on that too. Scarlett, what do you think?
Sorry, what was that? I got distracted by
What-
Dadgar.
What is your prediction for the new expansion?
She said new engine. She didn't.
So new game engine. If I have to choose what the new expansion is going to be about, I think it honestly is going to be old gods transitioning then into the void. There was somewhere I was reading where they said light isn't necessarily good. So I think we're going to have more
Sarah.
emphasis.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but there was something else I just saw recently. So I think we're going to have more emphasis on choosing sides, like light or void, fell maybe, and what's the opposite of fell?
Arcane.
Yeah. So
Interesting.
I think we're going to have a lot of choosing sides to do.
Speaking of choosing sides, what do you guys think Jaina's role is going to be?
Leader.
Of who?
Well, kind of like Khadgar is now. I think she'll work with Khadgar.
I definitely don't think she'll
she's
work
going
with
to work with
Khadgar.
Khadgar.
I think she's going to work against Khadgar, and your choosing side things is perfect.
Maybe. So would
I
you
think
choose
Khadgar
Jaina or
gets eaten by
Khadgar?
Yogg Saron, and Jaina says, "Okay, fine."
I feel like either she will be the, hey, everybody, you need to come see this person of the new expansion, or she will end up being a major leader that is either against both the Horde and Alliance and is fighting against everyone, or is against Khadgar and tries to
Yeah.
show us why Khadgar is bad.
Yeah. So I made I will continue to make the jokes about Jaina being a Dreadlord, despite the fact that I honestly don't think she is. I am personally hoping she ends up being a villain either way, because I want to kill her.
No, I like Jaina.
That being said, I want to kill Khadgar too, so it really doesn't make any much difference to me. I do think we're going to get not only the expansion reveal, like the title, we're going to get the cinematic at BlizzCon too,
Well, at
which
least
is
get
going
the
to be
initial one.
focused. We're going to be focused on Jaina.
Well, Howland just said Jaina is being corrupted by the main old god in the expansion story. She'll be a major bad guy.
No.
Where did you see her being corrupted by the main old god in the expansion story? I didn't.
It's one of
see
the
that.
theories out there based on the Emerald Nightmare Eye, and then the
what they
next raid
say.
has some
Okay.
information that we're not going to spoil, but it's in there, and it's just some things line up. This points to Jaina. This points to Sylvanas. This points to Anduin. This points to Rathian. This points to
No,
Khadgar.
I don't want them all to be corrupted.
It's a fan theory. There's no hard evidence outside of Howland just said it, so it's got to be true.
Well, I do agree with her being a major bad guy, but I don't know about the corrupted thing. To me, she's just been gone. Like, we don't know where she went, and I feel like she's gone because she's already fighting something else that we're about to find out about.
I think that she's going back to Kulturas, which is going to be our initial leveling zone. So I think we're going to get boats and islands, possibly revisit the Goblin starting area, but it won't be the Goblin starting area when you do it again. Possibly the Troll area, so we might get a Troll raid, at least, or a dungeon or something, a mini type thing. But I think that she went there looking for allies to back her up, because it only makes sense that she would go there, because that's the only place she has left at this point, because everyone's against her. But I think she's going to go there to find out it's been under siege by presumably N'Zoth at this point. She goes there not realizing it, and eventually gets corrupted. I'm not saying we're going to kill her. We might end up redeeming her, because Blizzard loves doing that too. But she is going to be a bad guy. I'm hoping for a raid, but if not, at least the last in a dungeon. I'm hoping it's a raid though.
Well, Alan just answered. She's pursuing power at any cost to keep her people safe. She's going to make a deal with the devil, in my opinion. It's where her story arc is. I think that's one of two possibilities. I think either that's the one possibility, or the second possibility is we find out she was really right and Khadgar's actually the bad guy the whole time. To be perfectly honest, I think it's going to be one of those two things.
We never did find out what those coins were for.
Exactly.
I could easily see Khadgar, even though I don't want him to be. I like him. He's been around Medivh for a long time. He's been around the center of Karazhan for a long time, which Karazhan was in the book, it was a portal between the arcane and the normal world, and it also had like a fell rift or something under it that was like corrupted. So I think he's corrupted, but I don't want him to be corrupted either. I don't want any of them to be corrupted. Why do we have to kill off existing people?
Because it's compelling.
No, it's not. Not for these two.
We've been talking about Pizzavarian all expansion. It's totally compelling.
No.
At this point, we have
piece
of Ronin, piece of Kindi, piece of Varian, piece of Zira.
Yeah.
The next one I'm hoping for is either piece of Khadgar or piece of Jaina, which has way worse connotations to it.
Yeah,
but
you should keep the Jaina one to yourself. So, to your boats comment about us having boats, I think we will have ships, but they will be airships, not boats. I think the mounts that they have given us for the virtual ticket
those are boats. They're just in the air.
They're airships, my friend.
Yeah.
And our new bases will be sky cities, similar to Dalaran, but not the same thing.
I don't know about Sky City. I think
giant boat that moves that you can dock your boats at.
I think that we'll get those airships, but I think it's going to be like Argus, where it's going to be you jump from island area to island
I don't know
area.
If they'll do that twice in a row. And like jumping, like warping from one place to the other. I think yes, it will have some way to move. I don't think it'll be like Argus is, because we're not going to be in space.
I mean, it might just be a flight path type thing. where you can you go up there, you hit the flight path, you can fly to the next one. It just load screen, has a little dotted line to the next area. But I don't think they're going to have all the islands together where once flying is unlocked, you can go from place to place. I think you're going to have to go back to the ship, load the other zone. You can fly in that zone, go back to the ship, fly to the next zone, like that.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
My current computer would hate that.
Good thing you're going to have a new one.
Okay,
Exactly.
when you guys load into
Dalaran is the only place I have
not
an issue.
Dalaran, the boat thing.
Uh-huh.
What's
Vindicar.
the airship? Yeah. Does it not load for you guys and you're standing in midair for a couple seconds, or is that just me and my
Mine's
stupid
not midair.
PC?
I'm standing on a hill, and it's like literally a quarter of a second.
I get
Oh.
about 1, maybe 2 seconds sometimes of the ship not loading, and then the ship loads, and then sometimes even beyond that, the graphics are kind of but then it loads all the graphics in. It takes I think at most it takes 10 seconds for it to load in completely.
Mine's much faster, but of course I have a pretty new computer. I think because of the things that they did graphically to make Argus look the way that it does, it's a little more taxing than anything else that's in the game.
It is really taxing.
Yep.
And that kind of
But
goes
at
back
least
to
you're
the
getting a
whole,
new one.
the whole thought of them making WoW on a new game engine. The game engine now is built to run on potatoes all the way up to really high-end machines, and depending upon what kind of machine you have, you really have a different actual experience with the game, which is part of the reason why I don't necessarily think that they would update the engine, because they're going to want to keep the ability for people who can't afford to buy a whole gaming rig to still be able to play the game.
I would
Yeah, but
personally love a new engine.
I don't think so,
but I
because
don't
like
think they're
with
gonna do
what
it.
they ramped up the graphics with, I don't think they're trying to keep that anymore. Like,
I think they are, because a lot of the people I know of, maybe not potatoes, but not decent computers either.
Well, today's decent computer is tomorrow's potato. So they have to, if they want to maintain a very high subscriber base, which is aging, to be perfectly honest, being someone who's considered fairly old playing the game, and knowing some of the people that we know who legitimately are much older than most people would think play video games that we play with currently, a lot of those people will not spend $4,000 or $5,000 on a gaming rig just to be able to play WoW
Well,
on high settings.
I don't think you would need $4,000 or $5,000, but I think you would need a decent computer instead of like, the $300 budget one at Best Buy kind of thing. Like-
Agreed.
Maybe the
okay,
$700 one
Scarlett,
from Best Buy.
You're missing the point, though. When did this game come out?
I don't know.
Like 12 or 13 years ago.
Yeah,
Exactly.
they're not going to put that much money. I mean, yeah, it's still making a ton of money. They're not going to do a complete overhaul. I kind of wish they would, but because the game is as old as it is, I don't think they're going to do as much as you want them to do, as much as I would be okay with them doing, just because of some people can't
They
afford,
won't be able to play it. Yeah.
and they won't be able to play it. They
Although,
want
I
as many
hope,
as they can.
I hope they do, because I have a good computer, so I won't have problems playing it, hopefully, if they
But-
do actually do something like that, but I honestly don't think they will.
But like, what if they updated it to say like Destiny type? I'm pretty sure,
Well,
or
that's
even,
the whole thing.
or
Like,
even,
people like to compare WoW to games like Destiny, and those
Yeah.
are two completely different art styles. It's not so much that Destiny just has amazing graphics compared to WoW. It's that Destiny has a much more realistic art style than WoW has. When you have a game that has gnomes and dwarves and taurens, you can't really have a very realistic art style the same way that you can in a game like Destiny. Now, yes, Destiny has like aliens and stuff like that too. But my point is that WoW has always kind of been more cartoony forever than
yeah.
it really has been realistic. So even if they updated the engine to be like the best engine possible with the absolute best graphics, the art style is still going to be the cartoony WoW art style. It's just going to be cleaner.
Agreed. I'm not wanting it to look like, say, like Overwatch or anything like, or Destiny, but I honestly think it does need to be a little bit cleaner.
Yeah, like for example, Golf Pro's talking about WoW on the Unreal Engine, and not that long
That
ago
would be
they
awesome.
showed I forget who it was, but
Fan
somebody
made.
yeah, it was a fan made video of like Elwyn Forest.
Duskwood. I think
Yeah,
Duskwood had one. Elwyn
and
Forest, maybe.
Yeah.
and it looked great, but again, that was not characters. You didn't see characters, you saw terrain, and the terrain looked
Yeah.
amazing. But
It looked fantastic. The time it would take for most computers to be able to run that, I don't
Exactly.
know that I have a computer that could run that. Not for an
Yeah.
MMO. A single
then-
player game? Absolutely.
then add in that terrain with 25 people and a couple of NPCs, and all of the characters look as good as the terrain looks, and now you have to have a $4,000 computer to be able to run it.
I mean,
true.
a single player game, you can crank those graphics up because there's less stuff I have to load outside of NPCs. Maybe
Yeah.
depends on the type of game and stuff like that.
I mean,
But an
and
MMO, unless you start it with that method, I don't think that you can really. I mean, yes, they might update the engine. Is it going to be the Unreal Engine? Who knows? Is it going to look like the videos we saw way back when they did it? Probably not, because it would take too long to load. Too many people would be like, well, I can't buy a new computer for this one game.
yeah.
There goes 25% of their subscribers. I'm guessing. I'm making numbers up.
Alessandro, you missed the StarCraft conversation that we had a little bit earlier. Thanks to your emails, we did talk about that earlier.
We
I
did.
think we're pretty much on the same page. I hope
Yeah.
that what you're talking about, Scarlett, does happen. I just don't think it's gonna.
Yeah.
But
And yeah, I got a message from Scarlett saying, "Hey, Alessandro sent me this." I was like, "Yeah, it's already in the show notes."
yeah.
Because I literally had just typed it because I'd got the same thing.
Yeah, and I already had a graphic ready.
Yeah. All right.
Uh,
So
anyway.
that's going to be about it, I think, for predictions, unless you guys have anything you want to throw out last second.
Nope.
I will be keeping track of like points or whatever and who wins, for who wins. If for those of you interested, Azeroth Roundtable also did their prediction last night, Thursday night rather, and they opened it up to the fans this year. Well, Ro opened it up to the fans, and I was the first entry in that. And I said, "Yay, second place!" Because the only way I could win it is if I double the points of the winner, because that's what they said. That was a requirement. So I had to get everything right, including the extra credit, opening ceremonies, predictions, that kind of thing. So I entered it. I think I have a good chance at second place. So maybe I can get on there next year. Since they didn't give me
Maybe.
Well, so you won your virtual ticket, right?
Yes, I won a virtual ticket, so I get to actually watch it live and not be like, "So guys, what happened?"
So, as it turns out, Friday is also a very big day for me at work. So even though I had originally requested to be off,
Oh no.
I will be working that day.
Oh no.
But I will be coming home with a brand new phone. So,
Oh yay.
Yay! Well,
But-
I know what phone it's gonna be, so
Yeah.
maybe yay.
oh no,
Grats?
that's awesome. That's okay. I'll be sending you smiling animated poop emojis all day long, Draven, just to make you feel better. But yeah, so like I'm gonna be watching it afterwards on virtual
That's fine.
ticket. And it's kind of cool that so many people in the community have actually gotten virtual tickets to be able to give away. I know Brutal was giving away a whole bunch, some of which he got from Blizz, some he didn't. And then there was a few other streamers, like Tally was giving away. There was a whole bunch of different people that were giving away. It was
A whole lot of them. Yeah.
Toast had 20 codes to give away.
pretty awesome.
All from Blizzard.
I really like the fact that Blizzard is involving the community as much as they are this year, especially this way. It's very, very cool. But yeah, I mean, I will definitely have it. I will not be able to watch Friday live, but Saturday I'll be in front of the computer. And then, of course, Friday night.
I think the three of us should get into some kind of voice chat and watch Saturday.
I
At least
don't
part of
know
the
if
day.
I'll be. So they canceled my vacation at work. before I had quit because they just messed up my schedule. But since I'm quitting, I figured I may as well not make a big stink about it and get it paid out because I'd rather the cash.
Hmm.
But that means I have to call in sick to work on at least the Friday. So I don't know if I'll be available on Saturday because I probably should go to work. But Friday, I'm definitely not going to work at.
All right. Well, me and you can get in there on Friday because esports stuff I'm not worried about on Friday as much as Saturday. So, and the costume contest is Friday, I believe.
It is.
Well,
So we can watch parts of it at least.
we'll be doing our show at 10 on Saturday, which should hopefully be after the closing ceremonies. Although Muse might still be playing. We'll see.
We can, if you want theory, since I know it's going to be up to you guys when we go, we can wait until it's done, or we can just go mid-closing ceremony so you can at least see some of it.
I think we should go at 10.
I don't think we should have a show. Okay, so if I was a watcher of Epic Fail podcast and I was watching the closing ceremonies, I would still watch the closing ceremonies and not watch the podcast. Just saying.
This is all things that should be said probably off air, by the way.
Yeah. Anyway, we're going to let you know how to get in contact with us if you would like to send in things like Alessandra did this week to have us talk about or ask us questions. This is how you can do that.
So at Epic Fail Podcast, we do love it when you contact us. So here's the ways that you can do that. We are at www.epicfailpodcast.com. On Facebook, you can find us at /podcastepicfail. Twitter is at podcastepicfail. You can follow Draven at Draven Dresden on Twitter. You can follow Scarlett at Scarlett_CTR. And you can follow me, Theory, at Gank Theory, also on Twitter. Don't forget, you can find our podcasts on iTunes and Stitcher Radio. We look forward to hearing from you.
Also, if you are on our Discord, you can send us information directly, and we'll use it in the show as well. Who wants to go first? Scarlett, what's your shout-outs for the week?
I was going to say, what are you asking going first about? I want to shout out to the cool people on the raid team again for putting up with my fail computer because I can't put up with it. It is painful. It drives me nuts. And I'm sorry, everybody. And hopefully we will kill Jaden again on Monday if my computer holds up. Please let it hold up, people. So, yeah, that's my shout outs.
Okay. I guess I'll go next. Shout outs for this week. I'm going to give a shout out to the old Hyjal Fire Department as well because they are very resilient and they're continuing to go, even though I've had to step aside. And they are even getting stronger, recruiting some more new people joining the team, and they are getting it done. Which again, they have met their goals for this tier, and we'll be moving on to the next tier. Great job, Draven.
I will give a shout out to those people I played Overwatch with this week. The ones that I said were worse than me because it made me feel better about myself. I tried to hold a straight face on that one.
Yeah.
Real shout out. Just people that are nice. I gave Kyle Ferguson. I'll do that again since BlizzCon's coming up. Kyle Ferguson for giving me that virtual ticket that he did a contest for from Blizzard. So, 2 weeks in a row. Thank you.
Cool. All right.
Norman. Also Norman. Can't forget
I
Norman.
can't forget
Norman. Norman's cool.
Yeah. If you don't know who Norman is, you're missing out. All right. Then that leaves only one thing. Any last words?
Potato computer.
Okay, bye. Hello, Mother.
You know, the world could always use more heroes.